Recently, there have been many rumors about Ernesto Valverde's renewal as Barca's head coach, and the club's board opting to allow him to stay for an extra season. But what if he decided to step down, especially after all the criticism and calls for resignation from the Barca fan base? Here's our list of our top 5 managers we'd like to see succeed Ernesto Valverde. Though we don't have any information on who the successor could be, even if we are led to believe Ronald Koeman is the front runner for the job, there is a list of 5 coaches we deem as the best fit for Barca. Number 5. Quique Setién. Setien, in his Las Palmas days and in his first season at Betis, lined up with a 4-3-3, with high emphasis on building out from the back, starting from the goalkeeper until they patiently reached the final third, going essentially through midfielders with tremendous quality, like Roque Mesa, Fabian Ruiz, Victor Camarasa, or even Jonathan Vieira, while physically adapting pivots like Vicente Gomez, Andres Guardado, or William Carvalho, who dropped between ball-playing center-backs in what is a fairly standard execution of La Salida La Volpiana, a concept developed by Ricardo Lavolpe, the former Mexican coach, which is when the defensive midfielder drops between the center-backs to facilitate build-up and allowing fullbacks to occupy higher areas. Once near the opposition's box, Setien's principle would be either to slowly use possession to move the opposition, before finding a gap to exploit, or execute a move with quick successive rehearsed passes to catch the opposition off guard. In his last season with Real Betis, however, with his best creative outlets leaving and wingers underperforming, Setien switched to a 3-5-2, where the width mainly came from the fullbacks. This resulted in the opposition getting more compact and congesting the midfield while allowing Betis the wider areas, knowing they wouldn't use it correctly, seeing it will mostly consist of only the wingbacks attempting crosses to an overcrowded box. This saw Betis heavily disappoint in what was Quique Setien's last season with the Sevillan club. With his romantic nature and his footballing ideas and Barcelona's resources, nothing suggests that this pairing could result in a failure. Quique Setien is our number 5. Number 4. Julian Nagelsmann. It might be a bold claim to make, but the young German tactician will eventually be the one to sit on Pep Guardiola's throne as his generation's biggest innovator and the best coach in the world. With his time at Hoffenheim, Nagelsmann mostly used the 3-5-2, with the sweeper Kevin Volt being an actual midfielder, pushing up to provide passing options and to progress the ball while always having a spare man forward. The width came from the fullbacks, while the interiors were attacking midfielders by nature, with Nagelsmann giving them free license to roam and occupy pockets of space to create numerical superiorities between the lines. However, with him joining Leipzig, he's shown a greater degree of tactical flexibility, not only opting for his preferred 3-5-2, but also switching to a 4-4-2 or a 3-4-3, depending on the opposition's qualities, flaws, and how he wants to counter them, using different players of his specific skill without putting the unit into danger. Nagelsmann is proactive and reactive as well. Formations may change according to the personnel he wants to use and the threat the opposition possesses, but the idea remains the same: use of possession and quick exchange of passes to move the opposition. Create space, exploit the space by occupying it and creating situations of numerical situations. Nagelsmann's teams are also known to be very vertical in transition, with quick counterattacks. Sometimes they always seek with their counter press, or gene pressing, which is a trademark of German football since Ralf Rangnick and Jurgen Klopp. Julian Nagelsmann is a very promising coach who's already certified himself as the Bundesliga's very best, and with his tactical powers and ability to improve players like Serge Gnabry, Nicolas Sewell, Karim Demarve, and Timo Werner, he is without any doubt on his way to become the very best in a number of years. That is why he is our number 4. Number 3. Erik ten Hag, the man behind Ajax's first league title in over 4 seasons and their first Champions League semi-final in 22 years. Erik ten Hag was coaching Bayern Munich's reserves while Pep was managing the first team. A lot of similarities can be drawn between the two in principles, as Ten Hag favors a position-based style in which the quick succession of passes is intended to create space, which can be used to create overloads either between the lines or in wider areas, with emphasis on intense pressing with coordinated movement. The Dutch tactician often opts for a 4-2-3-1, which could change to a 4-3-3 or a 2-3-2-3, with fullbacks Marzao and Tagliafico tucking inside, acting like midfielders to provide more layers of pressure and allowing more dynamic midfielders to go forward as creative wingers like Ziyech to drop deep. These changes, however, depend on personnel, as right-back Serginho Dest is much more adept at staying glued to the line than inventing like his Moroccan teammate, while Veltman is more of a Kyle Walker type of fullback, pushing up rarely yet tucking in as a third center-back in build-up. If Ten Hag were to join Barcelona, it all suggests he'd be in favor of a nominal 4-3-3, with the aging Busquets mainly tasked with initiating build-up, while the interiors would be tasked with most of the work defensively, without depriving them of their own offensive duties. Fullbacks will rarely be used in build-up and will instead only be used in the final third for offensive contributions like Cruyff and Van Gaal said. Erik Ten Hag is our number 3. Number 2. Thomas Tuchel. Having started his managerial career with a pressing-based game, the current PSG manager added positional play to his style after joining Dortmund. Using a 4-3-3 in his first season and at times a 4-2-3-1, Tuchel puts a lot of emphasis on quick circulation of the ball and is like former Barcelona manager Luis Enrique. Not against getting the ball forward as quickly as possible, as he believes in the use of one's talent, or in other words, individualism, as long as the setup and the system grant the player the possibility to act on his own without putting the team in disadvantaged situations, which was the case with Ousmane Dembele in his second season at Dortmund. Tuchel had already established numerous patterns in build-up and chance creation, yet still allowed Dembele the freedom to roam as he pleased, without any defensive obligation and to wreak havoc in situations of quick transition without his pace. That is why he is our number 2. Number 1. Pep Guardiola. None other than the best coach in the world and his generation's biggest innovator. Pep Guardiola used the same formation with Barcelona in his time, playing a 4-3-3 that switches into a 3-4-3 diamond, with Abidal playing as a third center-back, Alves pushing up to the right winger role, and Messi enjoying his free role as the team's playmaker/striker. Pep changed after leaving Barca, however, having ditched the false nine for a more traditional backline fixating striker. The changes don't stop here, however, as his first worry after joining the Bundesliga was dealing with the fast-paced counterattacks and the intensity of the league, so he came up with the idea to invert his fullbacks to enhance build-up and prevent counterattacks. The famous defend with 5 and attack with 5 principle that he had adopted from his once mentor, Juanma Lillo. After joining Manchester City, however, the inverted fullbacks he started using became more of a physical nature like Kyle Walker or Fabian Delph to compensate for the freedom of Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva, the free eights, to whom the entire team has to adapt its movement. If either occupies the half space, the wingers must tuck in, while the fullbacks overlap. If either occupy wider areas, fullbacks must invert to compensate in case of counter, and so on. It's safe to say Pep Guardiola completes our list as the best choice, though we wouldn't mind seeing any other names leading the club at all. There are some notable names that didn't make our list, such as Oscar Garcia or Marcelo Gallardo, with bright futures ahead of them and plenty of potential to succeed at Barcelona. What is your top 5 list? And who is your undisputed favorite to succeed Ernesto Valverde? Let us know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.